Happy Mother's Day.
Wow. Wow, to all you mothers out there, Jose has picked you a dandelion flower.
Oh, it smells good.
I don't have time in the middle of the summer as a market farmer to come out here and thin.
Yeah, one is done. So I had to do 2 more.
So this is the south side over here. You can see how low these guys are. Talk about a change. Yesterday t-shirt weather, today I got layers on. You just never know up here.
Where are you?
What are you looking for?
I can find you in this jungle.
Are you looking for me?
Yeah.
Wow, you have issues.
This is a jungle.
I know. Yeah, so we have some fires we need to put out. Because our season was pushed back and we lost that one hoop house, we didn't have the room to put our starts out there. A lot of times we move the cool season crops from in here to out there pretty early.
Yep.
But what happened this year is we didn't have that room, and so we just finished that other hoop house. Now we need to get these tomatoes pulled apart because they sit in here so close. They go from the little guys way up tall, and yes, way too leggy. The nice thing about tomatoes is you can, you know, bury them deeper.
Yeah.
But it's hard to sell at market when they're a little harder to sell at market when they're leggy. It isn't so bad. It isn't so much that they're hard to sell. It's hard to haul them back and forth because any sort of bump of the tray and they all just, well, they fall right over. And then you can't sell them. Nobody wants to buy a laying down tomato. We are going to get that hoop house. We need to put plastic on the middle 2 beds because that's where the tomatoes are going to go, but they're not ready to go out there quite yet. So we're going to put plastic to keep the weed load down, and then we can move all the trays that are over here over there. So we're going to do that today. The other fire we need to put out is we are possibility of a frost tonight and again in 2 nights. So we have to get everything in the garden covered and protected because we've said before, it'll be fine.
Oh.
And it was a big mistake. So we are going to go out and put our hoops and our row cover over, I don't know, maybe 5 beds.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Not too many.
Yeah, it won't be too bad. But just to make sure that what's out there is protected so we don't, we don't start over from ground zero again.
Yeah. Yeah. One is done. So I had to do 2 more. That will be super easy and quick.
So those are the projects that need to happen today because these tomatoes need to get separated and we need to protect what we have already planted. So that's what we're up to.
Yep. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh yeah, happy Mother's Day. Yeah.
Give me flowers.
You have flowers?
Yeah.
Oh.
Happy Mother's Day.
Wow. Wow, to all you mothers out there, Jose has picked you a dandelion flower.
Oh, it smells good.
You can eat them. They're edible. They're a little on the bitter side. Okay. Oh, there's a bunch in here. Nice. Yeah. There is one thing I will tell you that I don't do, and that is thinning. They tell you, oh, plant 2 seeds per hole and thin. I don't have time to thin. In the middle of the summer when we're doing lettuces, I know, snack for later. When we're doing lettuces and it's telling me 2 seeds per hole, I don't have time in the middle of the summer as a market farmer to come out here and thin. So with soil blocks, we get about 95% germination. I would rather have 1 or 2 empty blocks per tray than to come out here and thin. It takes way too long. Now, the things that you have to thin, you don't have a choice unless you buy a monogerm, is beets and Swiss chard. So what I'm doing right now is thinning beets. But literally to do 4 trays takes me close to an hour. It's ridiculous. It is such a time consumer. And last year we were double seeding the lettuces. So 2 seeds, because I was like, okay, 2 seeds per hole. And my friend was coming out here and helping me thin. And then at the end of the season I stopped thinning, and then the lettuce production was horrible. So what I'm going to tell you right now is if you are a market farmer and you are doing soil blocks, 1 seed per hole on just about everything. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do Swiss chard next. Now, we save these cuttings, we give them to the rabbits. You could use these in your salad. Like, they're beautiful.
Yeah, they are more like green.
Yeah, it's just like having microgreens.
Microgreens.
So the Swiss chard is I actually enjoy thinning it because then I can pick out what I want. But currently we have another mouse or some sort of critter getting on the table and eating. So all these tops have been eaten off on these couple of blocks. There's a few, oh, here. So guess what? Mouse traps, back in business. Thank you, Jose. So when I'm thinning beets and Swiss chard, the thing I look for is the healthiest stem. So, and also the height. Swiss chard and beets I find get leggy very fast, and it can cause problems for these particular plants. So I look for squatty, thick stems on them because they transplant, in my opinion, a lot better than the longer, thinner stems. So when I'm doing that, also on the Swiss chard, I'm looking for color because I really like having a variety of colors when I bring them to market. These little cutters too from Johnny's Seeds. Nice. I use these when I'm out doing the tomatoes because I can stick them on my finger and I have use of my hands, and then can turn them around and cut. Really like these little guys. Okay, Swiss chard is done. Back to beets. Okay, so if you've sat and watched me for the last half hour thin these trays, you're going to see in the middle of the summer I don't have time. I really don't. So thinning to me is the biggest time waster if you are a market farmer. Get out of the habit of double seeding. If you're using soil blocks, we get, I mean, this entire tray, you know, we've got 1 or 2 blocks that didn't come up. I can easily live without 1 or 2 more plants. I cannot live without 1 or 2 more hours. Time is your biggest asset as a farmer, and so stop doing things that are wasting your time. What I'm doing right now is, temperature is critical this time of year, especially here in the Upper Peninsula, and tonight we're supposed to get some frost, but we don't have enough room for tomatoes over there anymore. They need to start moving over here so we can spread them out and they can get enough sun and enough air, because right now they're getting way too leggy and I want to be able to sell them at market. So what we're doing is we're going to take this center plastic down. We usually keep these two separated to keep this side a little bit cooler and that side a little bit warmer. There is a definite temperature difference between this side and that side, sometimes as much as 20 degrees. So what we're going to do is open this up to help stabilize the temperature, and then we can move the tomatoes over here and keep them warmer. Right now we keep them at a minimum of 50 degrees overnight. As we get closer to putting them outside, we'll allow the temperature to drop to whatever the nighttime temperatures are, but they're still not going out for another 2 weeks. So it is the 13th right now, I believe. They will not go out until closer to the 1st of June. So we just need to keep them in here until then. First, I have to get all these herbs moved from the center table over to this far table, and then I'm going to use this table and that table both for tomatoes. The reason for that is because the further away we get from the heat source, the cooler it gets. So the heater is all the way on that other side of the greenhouse. Okay, so one of the things we love about wiggle wire is that we're going to pull all this plastic off except for the very top, and then we're just going to use the wiggle wire. We're going to roll it up and use the wiggle wire to hold it in place. And then this fall, when we want the plastic back in place, we're just gonna unroll the plastic and put the wiggle wire back where it was.
Tomatoes probably think, oh my goodness, there's another.
There's a whole side.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even notice. Okay.
Why we are here so squeaky when the
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, so this can come out of here. Yeah, and I don't know if we even need to worry about that. They can just stay like that. Oh, wow! I love it! So open. Okay, just to get this out of the way, we're gonna put this in here. And so as you can see now, we have this whole greenhouse is open both sides. Jose's gonna finish taking these trays out. I'm gonna move these guys to this table, and then this is gonna be tomatoes and tomatoes. One thing I'm always thinking about is staying organized. So the tomatoes, we have 2 or 3 trays of each variety. I want to keep those varieties together so that my life is so much easier when I'm looking for varieties. If in the years past I've gotten confused because I've got them spread all over. I'm frustrated when the tomato plants are this tall. I can't see the little tag easily. So we need to stay as organized as possible. So as I move them over here, I'm going to keep them together in the same variety.
Yeah, sorry, I'm eating. I'm always.
Jose's always on break.
Hmm?
Uh-huh. Can you throw these to the ducks? Or put them in with the rabbits or whatever you want to do? Okay, so I want to talk for just a minute about what we did here. So these are tomatoes to sell at market, and I just want to show, so this is the south side over here. You can see how low these guys are. The reason is because they're getting the most sun. And then you can see there's a slight gradual increase to these guys over here as they get less sun, so they get taller and leggier. You really want to consider this when you're setting up your greenhouse, because it can be very frustrating. Taking tomatoes to market that are this size with strong, healthy stems is way easier than taking huge ones with these thin, leggy stems right here. These are much thicker and will stand up a lot better, won't fall over. So what we've done over here with our tomatoes is we've separated them a little bit. They're not directly next to each other. This is because we want to give them more sunlight and keep them from getting too leggy. So you can see these ones have been in their big 8-inch pots for a while. They've got a nice thick stem. They've been getting plenty of sun. These guys were in the smaller soil blocks and packed in. Extremely thin stem. They will grow, but we want to give them enough space to make sure that they do that. So the next thing we're going to do is we have this huge space to fill in over here. We're going to separate out these trays for market because I want to be selling the best quality tomatoes that we can sell at market so people are getting value. I feel like the better you treat your customers year after year, the more likely they are to come back. So we are going to work to separate these out to try to keep them smaller and stronger and not quite as tall and leggy.
What day is today?
Today is May 15th and it's Monday.
It's Monday.
I had to go to the feed store already this morning, and I washed about 40 dozen eggs this morning to get them ready for market this weekend, which was a lot. So now the goal is to get this new garden laid out.
Yep.
So right now we just have bare land here. We planted all our trees around the perimeter just a couple days ago. And so now we're gonna figure out how we want to lay out the bed. So this is always working right here, a little too much. So we need to decide what we're gonna do. But I think most of our beds run north-south.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few here that run east-west. And so that's what we need to decide right here, is we want to do east-west beds or do we want to do a north-south bed? I know for sure I want the raspberries to run along the tree line there, east to west. But I'm thinking the other beds maybe north-south. So we're gonna get the measuring tapes out. If you are a farmer and you lay out beds, you need several of these because we like to lay things out, make decisions. When we're running fence line and have to set our posts every 10 feet, these things are, yeah, invaluable. I love them. All right, so what do you think? Same as these beds close or opposite?
I don't know. Let's go.
Who knows?
Talk about for a minute.
The problem we have here is that it's not level. It's got a north-facing slope, which is not ideal. But we want to keep our garden beds as close to the main farm as possible because these beds are constantly being worked. Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's only 79 feet.
79? I don't know if it is.
So I am setting up the fence line, putting in all the markers for where each post needs to go. Jose is going to till up this field. We're a little concerned because this field has had a lot of stuff buried in it. That's what people used to do out in the country. They would just bury their trash. So it'll be interesting to see what we find out here. Okay, so we've got the new beds tilled up, which is really nice. Now Jose is going to take the tiller over to another farm and help them till a field for them. I am going to dig all these fence post holes. Apparently Macho's going to help me.
Probably.
No, Macho, you don't need to be in the skid loader. So I'm going to get that done while Jose goes and does that because we've got to get these fence posts done. Today is chilly.
Chilly, yeah.
Oof, it went from 72 yesterday to a cold north wind today. Talk about a change. Yesterday t-shirt weather, today I got layers on. You just never know up here. So we finished getting fence posts dug this morning, and we are supposed to get below 32 degrees tonight. So 31 is what they're calling for.
Yeah.
Which is not good for the gardens. So Jose covered our spinach today, which normally spinach this time of year, we don't worry too much.
No.
But we had to cover it. We're covering it. So that got done. We finished digging most of the fence posts. We still have to remark the property line before we do the fence posts on the property line, just so we're not putting the fence on the neighbor's property. I'm sure he will appreciate it if we don't do that. So we have to do that and do all those fence posts still, dig those holes. But right now what we're going to do is we just marked for grapes. So these are the 30 grapes we're planting this year. They're going to go right here. We had planted 30 last year. So this year we're going to dig the hole for the trellis, and then we're digging each hole for the grape. We won't dig a very big hole, but we're going to use the auger as long as we have it out here.
Yeah.
Quicker. All right, Jose, you ready?
All right.
Okay, let it run.
It's too windy.
It is